Let's take a closer look at today's coronavirus situation now with ABC analyst Casey Briggs. Hi there, Casey. No new cases again today in Victoria.
Good afternoon, Ros. That's right. The big news today again for the second day in a row is, well, there's no news, and what a fantastic situation for us to be in where we're reporting absolutely nothing. 2 days of zero in a row, and we haven't seen this since, well, 2 days in a row since right back here, right at the start of the pandemic. So that is the achievement. Hopefully we start to see this become a much more regular thing. What's it done to the 14-day average? Well, it's continuing, thanks to these zeros, just to plunge. Statewide, the 14-day average is now looking looking like 3 per day on average. Mystery cases as well coming down. We've seen 6 of them in the past 14-day reporting period, and that should drop below 5 tomorrow, because 3 of those 6 will fall out of the 14-day window tomorrow. And when you're recording numbers like 0, well, you can't really add more mystery cases to the total. So everything looking good there in terms of the numbers. The challenge now is keeping it that way.
Yeah, that's right. What comes next then? Because new outbreaks, of course, are inevitable, aren't they, as the state reopens?
Yeah, that's right. And certainly one of the problems that Victoria has had through this second wave is problems that have clearly were there with contact tracing and tracking and tracing. I think that has been shown just in the past week to have come a really long way. Let's hope that what is in place now and the changes that have been made will help to suppress and really get on top of any outbreaks before you need to think about anything like the rules that have been in place in Melbourne for several months now. But of course the big challenge is to keep on top of things, make sure that clusters are being found as quickly as possible, and testing will be one of the keys to that. We have been seeing testing numbers slipping. Here's New South Wales, for example, which has been in this phase that Victoria is moving into for months now. Testing numbers had come down when a cluster was discovered a couple of weeks ago. We saw a bit of a surge, but it does look like it's starting to peter off again on a day that today New South Wales has recorded 2 new infections. So there are still infections around. Luckily, these 2 linked to a known cluster, the Oran Park Community Cluster, and both in isolation, so not so much of a worry. But you know, while I'm hesitant to declare anything in this pandemic as inevitable, I think it would be silly to not prepare in Victoria for more cases into the future. I doubt we've seen the last infection in Victoria, so keeping on top of testing at high numbers will remain, you know, really key and important to that as well. Some of those measures that are remaining, like mask wearing, which I think, you know, has been shown to reduce transmission in Victoria. You saw a bending of the curve soon after masks were introduced in Melbourne. They'll be in place for at least through the end of the year. Those sorts of things will be what helps keep the numbers low.
Yeah, and overall, Casey, we are doing so well here in Australia, aren't we, compared to the rest of the world, particularly in the US and Europe?
Yeah, we are, unfortunately, despite seeing extremely good numbers in Australia, seeing steadily worsening numbers across the rest of the world. These are the global cases being found each day. And a few days ago, for the first time ever, we saw a day with, if I can hit it, 506,000 infections, a record high once again. And this curve is, well, it's actually getting quite steep at the moment, and that's being driven mostly, frankly, by cases in Europe, partly by cases in the United States. But Europe is just continuing to be this gigantic share and growing share, and there are more countries joining this group of countries seeing spikes. Slovenia, 24,000 infections. Something like half of them have come in the last week. You know, one more just to round us out. Croatia, 37,000 infections. A gigantic proportion of them are just happening right now, and that is, you know, a situation that is driving growing infection numbers. It looks like we're starting to see growing death numbers, and given the severity, the steepness of some of these curves, you'd expect to see a spike in deaths, you know, in the coming weeks.
Yeah. Casey, thank you.